Okay, okay. Here we go. I might just let a few people join me first before I get going on this, just so that I feel as though I'm not alone. you know. But I was just watching the World Series, and I was just watching somebody that's he is a very famous astrologer, and I was watching his forecast, and lately it's been very trippy, freaky, kind of scary. And I'm not really feeling that. I think that I've done a lot of thinking about a lot of things that have been going on for the last couple of years and year and a half. God, has it been? It's like 2 years. No, I can't even think. That's what I mean. I'm going to talk about that too. Not even thinking, can't even think. Um, I've noticed that a lot of people have been freaking out. And maybe it's just the kinds of people that I know, because a lot of people that watch my videos are doing a lot of healing. And I don't think so, though. I think that it's kind of, I think it's rampant among the liberal side more because they're more emotional, they're more artistic, they're more of the feminine mindset, you know? And so I think that those people are more apt to freak out over things that are going on in our world. But yeah, a lot of stuff is hitting the fan, and I'm just here to tell you that you should expect a lot more of that for quite a while. I don't see it calming down anytime soon. And when the population is out of balance as much as it is, you can pretty much expect people to go through a lot of crazy roller coasters. That's just how it's going to be. And so, also, you can expect yourself for sure to go through a lot of crazy highs and lows. Hi, Nisi Pie. And so, yeah, on Facebook lately, I've noticed some people kind of melting down, like damn near like a nervous breakdown, you know, that I had not seen before. And I've kind of prepared myself because, as you know, and as you've heard me talk about, how people are so whacked. People are so addicted to processed food. I mean, think about an addict, okay? An addict has to have their whatever they need, food or whatever, and they have to have it regularly. And if they don't get it, or if there's some kind of a threat to it or something like that, then they can start to lose it. And people are addicted to driving. Okay, so somebody was sharing about how their 16-year-old son just got their license, their driver's license. And they said, pray for my son, you know, like, and it's really true, but it's true for everyone. It's true for everyone because when you get out in a car, it's dangerous. Automobiles are freaking dangerous. And they're one of the insane things that we do. And the more you have to drive, the more insane you are because it is so dangerous. But it's not just dangerous. It's really toxic for you to breathe all the fumes from all the cars. Like when you move out to the country and you walk down a quiet road and then a car passes you. Before you were breathing this pristine air, and then a car passes you, and one single car exhaust, you can really smell it. It's like, and if it's diesel, oh, it's really bad. Okay, so imagine you're a person that's driving in I-5 traffic in Southern California, like I used to years and years ago. You just don't kind of know it for the most part, especially if you're young. You just don't realize how much much toxic fumes you're breathing from all of those cars. And if you're just sitting in traffic, it's just not a good thing. And so think about it. Anything that's toxic for your body has to adapt and it has to get used to these things. And if people are used to these things and then all of a sudden, like they have to stay home and they're not getting their dose of auto exhaust, or the intensity of it, okay, like screaming at people, or people get addicted to all the intensity of driving too, and foods, the processed foods and everything. And it all creates a need for drugs to calm you down or to rebalance your blood sugar from whatever, all kinds of things, your cholesterol, your high blood pressure, all these different things that are increased and are affected by stress, and you have to get to your job by this time. So you can expect that when everything winds down, there's a lot of people that are going to be doing a lot of freaking out and a lot of defending their whatever, I mean, they may be doing things that are completely, or so we think, unrelated to their withdrawal symptoms from getting off of all of these things. You may have people out there that are just like, you've got a lot of people that are deciding to change their diets. I can tell you without zero doubt in my mind that when you do that, whether you change your diet or quit smoking or you quit drinking or whatever, caffeine, you are going to be really irritable. And there's a lot of people out there that are really, really sick. And I don't think that we're done with the you-know-what. Okay, so we're not done with the you-know-what by a long shot. Because like, you tell me where the end is. It's somebody write down where they think that the end of COVID is. Is that going to be anytime near for whatever reason that you can possibly think about? I don't see it. I mean, people can get naturally immune to it. People they think that they can get some kind of an immunity by taking the you-know-what. I don't think so. If it wears off, it's probably going to leave you up the creek with no paddle after so long, after a year or two or whatever. So I would guess that in the future, they're going to have all kinds of booster shots every 6 months for everyone forever and ever. Oh, you've got to get a booster shot every freaking year forever and ever. Okay, so does all of that sound as though it's really addressing the problems, the main health problems that people have? People think that conventional medicine is health care. Okay, so if it's not true, like I've been telling you for all of this time, if that's not true, if that's somehow, if the logic of what I'm telling you, that human beings evolved on natural foods and fresh air and not auto exhaust air, and sex, I always mention that one, but all kinds of, and a roof over your head and good feelings and all kinds of things. Human beings evolved on war, all kinds of bad things as well. But in any case, if human beings evolved on all those kinds of things, but humans aren't doing those things now, then we've got a lot of problems ahead of us, don't we? We've got a lot of problems. And so, but for me, the reason that I can sit here and tell you all of this without like freaking out is because I think a lot about my next life. I think a lot about what I'd like to do in the next lives, in different planets, on different planets out there. And so you can see it's set up right behind here, but they're also set up over there. And there's Mr. Spock over there. Can you see Spock and all them over there? And so if you think about the minusculeness of this, is that a word? Minusculeness of this planet and our bodies and everything, and then you stand on a sidewalk or just on the dirt and you look down and you can see a tiny, tiny rock down there, then you understand where I'm going with this, you know? And it may be painful for us to die. We may have a car accident, or we may get cancer, or we may get killed by something from the government or whatever. And it may be pretty painful in the end. Think about that Khashoggi guy in Turkey. The Saudis chopped him all up, and who knows what happened to him. Got hauled off and thrown in the river. But I mean, I'm just trying to shed a realistic yet positive outlook on the whole thing, and a preparedness outlook on it for you, because it is really important for you to know that when people go through changes, and a lot of people are in denial about a lot of things, and then they get reality forced upon them, which is what's going to happen, is what has to happen. I mean, if they're in such heavy denial about so many of these things, and they just have to stop at Burger King on the way home, but somebody pushes them, presses them, pressures them, to stop doing that, or a bunch of other extreme things. See, all these extreme things, they have to go away. And it's a lot of pressure to move towards the center. And I mean, think about the environment. The environment, this earth, is going to put a lot of pressure on human beings. And it's such a massive overpopulation that that's going to put a lot of pressure on everyone. I mean, from all directions. And it's not just, and the rich people may have some things better, but they have to endure all of that which is going into the air from everyone else. If you've noticed, some people mentioned that they had been having a lot of bad dreams lately. I've noticed a lot of crazy, nutty dreams. I kind of remember them when I first wake up, and then I'll go back to bed, and I'll have a bunch more, and I'll remember them when I first wake up, and it goes on and on. But the next day, I don't really remember them, but I figure, and it kind of feels as though I'm purging thoughts. I may be processing thoughts out of myself, my own mind, the depths of somewhere in the back of my head, or other people's stuff through the air. We're all affected by all of that that's going on out there, whether we watch the news on here or not. Totally. So, still very hot. Hey, Nisi, are you still watching? People aren't doing well at all. It's very disturbing. Yeah, see, that's what I'm trying to tell you, that you shouldn't allow it to be disturbing. And here's what I've been doing lately. Okay, so I was just watching Tom, the astrologer, and I've noticed for the last several months that he's just been kind of tripping out. And so I'm like, okay, I'll see how long I can stand this. And I watched him for a while, and I watched him for a while. And then I just was like, oh man, I'm just not wanting to go there with you. So you don't have to go any place with anybody, including me, if I'm in a bad way. So you just don't have to go. Yeah, well, I don't know that I really want to remember my dreams. They're just like really nutty and toxic sometimes. So I just let them go. I think that, like I said, I think I'm just purging them and just like, plus like vomiting, you know. But in any case, yeah, I would say, okay, so someone said, and also somebody said that they're constantly saying that they're tired of Facebook. Yesterday, somebody said, I'm just sick of Facebook, you know? And I see that quite a bit, and I've been through it myself. And in the very beginning, I just ousted it. And I've seen a lot of people oust Facebook for a while, but it's like you can't remove your account, I don't think. And so you're kind of, if you ever want to come back to it, it's easy to hop back on Facebook, you know. And and so I would say that you really have to regulate. You really have to regulate what's going on Facebook. And so I recently created a post that said I unfriend people all the time on here. And being a YouTuber, I've friended hundreds of people that I don't really know. But I can get to know them on Facebook after a while. And if I get to know that they're just not sending me good vibes for where I need to be, then I just delete them, or you can snooze them for a while. But if you see an ad that you don't like, or that you've seen it so many times, you know, you can just click on the three little dots and say, don't show this again. You can do that with YouTube videos too. Like if you click on it and it gives you a bunch of new videos to watch, and you see like the news or something, you don't want to watch it, then you can just click on the little dots, I think it is there too, and don't show this kind of a video again, you know. So there's ways to filter all these kinds of things, and you have to really work at it. It's like there's no free lunches with Facebook or anything. Just my channel here on YouTube. It's pretty much a free deal. You can watch me every day or every other. You can probably watch me every day for years and years if you watch my old videos. but but I can tell you that there's a lot of toxic people. Here's how I know deeply about all of this stuff, okay, with people, and how I'm really prepared. It's because I've been doing cleansing for almost 30 years. I've been doing enemas for like 20 years. And you're looking at somebody that I'd be dead at least 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, I would guess, if I had not started doing them and other things, natural healing, and changed my diet and all these things. And so if you compare me, and I was probably pretty filthy when I started, but if you compare me to most people out there, I mean, there's no way that you can really know how toxic people are. Actually, you can kind of guess by looking at their skin, how overweight they are, because being overweight really is an indicator in on a lot of different levels. And people are stressed, they eat. When they're toxic, they eat a lot of fat creating foods, because fat helps to absorb toxins in the bloodstream and help you to feel better. It helps you to feel better. It creates like endorphins, I believe they call it, in your brain, and helps you to feel better. But skin is largely a reflection of the liver and how well it's functioning. And all kinds of things like their face and their hands and their feet reflects the condition of their bodies, and how good their posture is and stuff, how the tone of their voice, and their eyes, and like their nose is their heart. And you can tell how healthy people are to a degree also by the things that they're into. Okay, so what kind of music are they listening to? What kind of crowd are they hanging out with? I mean, somebody that's as analytical as I am, I can go over God knows how many things in regards to a person and tell you how healthy they are. But you can't always tell everything. But I can tell you that by judging the way people live on couches and their jobs, and they're not taking care of themselves and all of these kinds of things, I think they have a lot of work to do. People have a lot of cleansing and healing to do. And see, they're stuck in all of these jobs and they have to make so much money, and they're having to really, really reprioritize their lives right now. They're having to really figure out what they really need and what they don't really need. And all of that is very stressful. And so, as per back to the title of this video, you can expect a lot of people to have temper tantrums and crying spells and bad gas. And man, and you might not see somebody for a few weeks. They might be just in a cave somewhere. Just, I mean, write down some things. Write down some things in the chat box there of ways people freak out. They lose it. Okay, so I'm friends with this world famous wrestler. I won't say who he is, but a lot of you know this person. He was he's well known for this one event that, like, just mind-blowing event where people just will never forget what he did. And he just kind of, in a post yesterday or the day before yesterday, just kind of, actually two posts, he just kind of freaked. He just kind of freaked out in anger, and kind of like a threatening, he's like in a threatening voice, like say one more thing and something bad is going to happen to you or something, like that. And I was just like, my God, people are really, really losing it. And so yeah, I'm just warning you tonight. I'm just warning you. And you really need to get it into your head that this is how it's going to be, I think, for many years. Okay, so on the good side of that, I think that we are hanging in there and keeping things under control. I don't buy into conspiracy theories too much. I believe that there's always a possibility of a lot of different things, especially in the world we live in today. Because we live in this technological society where people are thinking about all kinds of things that they can do to plants and people and the environment and yada yada to alter them. Hey, can we alter this from the natural and achieve some kind of a desired result? And so, I will not rule out anything that they're doing. I won't rule out any of it. But I also am not going to focus on it because there's so many things, so many good things to focus on, and there's so much work to do. Okay, so for me, I've been using the when all else fails tool on my legs. I've been massaging my back. I've been rolling on my obliques. Ha ha ha. I've been rolling on my obliques every day, many, many times a day. And combing my head. Oh, okay, so I'll show you some things. I'll show you some things that you should probably do for stress that I've been doing lately. And it's not like I've forgotten about this before, but like lately I've been doing this massaging of my head. Okay, so when you do this, I mean, how easy is that? You can watch Indian head massage on YouTube, and all kinds of Indians know how beneficial this is. Like, think about there are a million Indians in India, and a lot of them are these guys that they'll be on trains, they'll be in front of stores, they'll be on the streets, they'll be offering head massage, simple head massage to people for a buck or two or whatever. They'll be in barber shops, barbers will be doing it. Okay, so all kinds of things like this. But see, you have your own hands. You have your own hands, and you should be able to do this hopefully right now. If you've got a phone in your hand, maybe you could set it on the table or something and just do a nice head massage routine with me here right now. Let's see what Nisi says. As soon as I wake up, I turn voice memos on my phone and record my dreams. Right. A woman peeled off angrily right in front of me and burned rubber at school in the car drop-off line while I was directing traffic. She didn't want to pull up to the proper area and was holding up a long string of waiting cars. She was waving her hands and cussing at the same time, speeding angrily by. Okay, so on that note, let's all do some head massage. Okay, you can start almost anywhere, but let's start here with your sinuses. Okay, so take your fingers and feel your sinuses. Are you doing this, Nisi Pie? Are you doing it, Shell? Are you doing it, April Morrison, Jim's sister? So we know April isn't Jim's niece. She's his sister. She's old. Okay, so do this. Just do this with me. And think about how, if you work on yourself, okay, so it might be, you never know. The Chinese or the North Koreans or the Russians or whoever, they might shoot 1,000 missiles at the US tonight and completely destroy the North American continent. And, that would be a drag. But if you just focus on this with me right now and not focus on any of that catastrophe-minded things, then I think that you'll be able to get through this night. So do this and feel. Is it sore in there? Is it sore in your cheeks? Okay, now work your way back here. You can rub your eyes too. This feels really good. See, this is a massage stroke. You didn't know it was a massage stroke, but it is. You can do face yoga too. You're not just sitting there watching me, right? You're actually doing this. Rub your eyes, rub your sinuses, rub your cheeks, all this. Okay, now rub here. Rub under your ears like that. So have you got a tight spot right there? When you create action in the area that you're working on, like your brain, your brain is in your head, and we all know that if you create more blood flow to an area, if you create stimulation, something's going to happen. Something's going to change. And it may be uncomfortable for a while. You may notice that you jarred up a bunch of toxicity out of the tissues in your sinuses, and your nose may run. or maybe you massaged here and it was really sore and you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely a spot that I needed to work on. But unfortunately, nothing is free. Okay? Nothing is free. And this is where I was getting with the thing with, we're going through all these changes in our world, and we have 7.5 billion people, and the screws are being turned in on them all. And so nothing is free, and you can expect people to be freaking out regularly for a lot of different reasons. But you can expect yourself to freak out too whenever you work on your healing. And if you're working on your head and you're working on your ears, don't forget to work on your ears, because your ears reflex to every single part in your body. And if you go to my website, you can click on the free charts and get 5 different free reflexology charts. 2 of them are for your feet. 1 is for your ears. 1 is for your hands. And then I have another hand chart that's like a realistic hand back and front chart. But work on your ears and feel all around and on the insides too. And you may not have any sore spots or tight spots in your ears, or you might. But either way, it's good to massage them. And now do this, because these are healing tools, okay? So your hands are like wrenches or like screwdrivers. They're tools. And there's a lot more to them than you realize, okay? So your hands and your feet, they move electricity. What do you call it? They're conduits, but they're conductive, right? The word was conductive that I'm looking for. The reason that your hands and your feet are a lot more conductive of electricity, real, like what's coming out of your, what's being created in a light bulb. It's because they're warmer and they have more moisture in them, and that creates more electrical movement. And so, like if I ground my computer and I touch it, then my hand can pick up electricity, static electricity, EMF, off the computer or whatever, if it's metal anyway, or even if it's just close to it, EMF. But your hands are also like healing tools, and they're also conducting electricity, I believe. They say that your right hand takes stuff away, toxicity away, or your left hand takes toxicity away, and your right hand moves healing energy into a body when you're working on it. And that'll go for the same thing on your own body. And this is the kind of a thing, it's more like a woo-woo thing that you can't really prove, because we don't have the ability to prove that yet. But it's probably true, because people, if you look at people's mannerisms and what they do, they'll do things with their hands whenever they're upset. They'll be like, okay, so they'll put their head down in their hands as a means of protecting and healing themselves during a time of despair. Or if they get injured, they'll put their hand on that place to try and heal it, Or, I'm sure there's a bunch of different examples that I can come up with. But in any case, your hands are total healing tools. And if you go like this, and it's sore in a spot, okay, so Right now, I'm a little bit sore right there, right there. But I've had times in my past where my forehead was so sore. I've had times when every single place on my body was sore. And if I remember back, I remember getting really good at massaging those places. Um, my gums, oh God. I massage my gums a lot. I still sometimes a lot more than others. But where else? All of these jaw muscles, I've been massaging them for a long time. Ever since I started massage school and I knew I needed these massaged. And they used to be a lot bigger and harder, the knots in my jaw muscles. But take your fingers and go like this. Okay. And also do this, do these movements, do these stretching neck moves, stretches, like turn and rotate your head all the way around. Turn and rotate your head all the way around. Rotate it the other way. And turn. Okay, so now if you feel a tight spot, if you feel that it's really tight and sore when you do that in a certain spot, that's because you've just brought it out. You've just unearthed it, if you will. Okay, so I just felt a little bit of tension right here from doing that. So I'm going to put my elbow on the table like this. And that takes the weight off of this. Okay, see that? That takes the weight of my arm off of these levator muscles so that I can dig in there. And then when you release it from the inside out, then you can move it and it'll move more freely. Okay, so now go like this and stretch the shoulders back. And stretch your head back too. Because me, I have bad eyes, and so I'm constantly going like this to see the screen. But when you do this rotational movement, it sets everything on axis where it back gets it back where it's supposed to be. When you do all these stretching movements and all of this stuff, it gets everything to go back where it's supposed to be. Whereas if you don't do all of this, you're going to eventually have some kind of a neck strain, a tendon strain, a pinched nerve in your spine somewhere. You're going to have some kind of a tension problem if you don't keep up with this. But it's not just a tension problem, because when all of these muscles get tight, all of these muscles get tight, and then you get headaches. Okay, so it's especially important to do all of this because we're going through so much digestional stuff, like because the mind and the stomach are really, really interconnected. And so whenever you're really stressful, you might not be able to eat. You might not be able to digest very good. But if you do all these kinds of head work energy exercises, massage and stretching of your head muscles, then you'll be a lot better prepared. If you do this regularly, you'll be able to deal with these people that are going to be freaking out over the next several years. So I'm just teaching you this to get you prepared. I'm teaching you all of these things, these mental things and these physical things, to get you in a state of where you're strong. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is the nuttiest nutshell, the most basic, simple nutshell thing that you should know about surviving in the future. The stronger you are in all of the different aspects that you think are required for being healthy and survivable in the future, the stronger you are, the more likely it is that you're going to survive. So think about all of the different things that can help you to be strong in the future. And what are you going to do to get strong in those regards? I'll tell you what you have to do. Work. Okay, so you can call it work if you want, but you could call it something that's less connected to mainstream detrimental things that they do. You might not want to call it work because that's just a bad connection to what people do from 9 to 5. See, I don't get the bad feelings on Monday morning that most people do. I remember the bad feelings of having to go and work for someone, doing something that I didn't really like doing very much. Okay, so I don't always feel happy and joyous about sewing millet hole pillows, but I don't feel bad about it. I feel decent about it for a lot of different reasons. I invented them. It's my business. It's my product. People really like my millet hole pillows. And so I don't feel, and also I don't have to do them whenever on a specific schedule like people do at jobs that they have to go to. And so I really recommend that if there's any way that you can get a job working at home, I think that will help you a lot. That's going to help a lot of people. That's already helped a lot of people. Because when you can take care of yourself at home, privately, in your own little room like this, it is an amazing, amazing healing tool. Even just having a little space at home, if you have a family, if you have a little place that you can go and be in your own room, if you can have your own room somehow, amazing health tools. So, I'm kind of getting out on a limb in a lot of different ways, but my tea is just about ready to drink. It's still hot as hell. Okay, so what I was saying is you need to get you need to get as strong as you can in whichever ways that you know that you need to be strong. So financially, I'm up a little bit this month. Yay. But I need to get up a little bit. And that's because I've got some big expenses coming and I know it. But so financially, it's important to be strong and secure. A lot of us are not. I don't have very much. I'll tell you what, I don't have very much saved. I could make it maybe with no income at all coming in, maybe 4 months, maybe. But emotionally, okay, emotionally, you have to get out your problems. Like I did a lot of that in the beginning, and that never ends. None of these ever end. You have to keep up on things, and you have to get ahead on things. And all of these kinds of things, the stronger you get, the more you're going to be able to deal with the people freaking out over all different kinds of things, and including yourself. And I think it's going to be really good to say, if you're going at, think about your lifestyle and how fast you're going. If you're used to going at a speed of 60 miles an hour, I think for the next several years, it's going to be really smart to go at a lot lower speed throughout your day, your mind, your things that you have to do. Like years ago, and it's progressed gradually over the years, I have slowed my mind down. Okay. So after Chakra died, it was really, really hard for me. And it's almost the 1 year anniversary of her death. 2 more days. Okay, so it was really hard for me. But for years and years, I knew that after Chakra died, I didn't want to get another animal, because the way that I like to take care of animals is like Mr. Perfecto. And I work so hard at taking care of them. I spend so much time. And that's how I am. I'm a counselor, I'm a caregiver. I'm a massage therapist. But I knew that I needed to not get any more animals and just focus on me. Okay. So that took a lot off my plate when Chakra died. It didn't immediately, it put a bunch more on my plate from all the stress of it, all the pain. But gradually over time, I started to feel relief, and I don't want to get too much like into the details of those kinds of things. You have to pick and choose your battles. But people have had overloaded plates for so long. Nisi Pie, overloaded. And she just keeps adding more to the plate. Not good. Not good, Nisi. I would be like, maybe that's just you. I know we're all different. But for me, I'm keeping my light low, like not so much that I have to be thinking about. I was watching Lee on the Osher House. Okay, Leah started this animal rescue farm. Okay, you can watch Lee on YouTube, the Osher House. Yes, he's Jewish. He's this great big guy that loves dogs and all kinds of animals. But he has gone, and even though he has all of this money coming in from all of these people that are donating to him, because he was on the Ellen show, he's gotten a lot of publicity for being such a dog lover and for rescuing all these dogs. And so he's got all of this money coming in from all of these people that are donating to him. And he's bought this great big piece of land, I believe in Oregon or Washington, and out in the country, and all the dogs are running and having a good time. But Lee was talking about yesterday in his video how much pressure he has on him to do this, to do that, to do this, to do that. And I think it's one of the most important things in healing is to not let your plate get too full, to not get too busy with too many things. And I can tell you that I just know from experience that we do that because we feel as though we need to accomplish things in this life. We need to pay for things, Don't get yourself into a situation. Don't buy into situations of where you're being pressured from being pressured by someone, some organization, family member, or whatever. Don't buy into all of that if it doesn't feel like it's good for you. For your serenity, for your sanity, for your being able to stop and enjoy life, don't do it. And we just live in this world of where there are so many people that are just money hungry because they've gotten themselves into trouble, even like really super wealthy people, millionaires, even billionaires. They have all of these obligations, these financial obligations, these time obligations, all of these things that in the back of their heads, if you were to force them to stop and breathe for a few minutes, they'd experience so much anxiety in the back of their minds that their bodies would start to freak out, and they'd probably blow up at you and say, I cannot stay, I've got to get out of here, and they'd scream at you and leave. And man, there's a feeling that you get when you look to the west and your spirit is crying for leaving. Did you get that one? That's Stairway to Heaven. But there's this feeling that you get that is really good for your digestive system. And it's that feeling from those videos, those whatchamacallit videos, those those peaceful videos where you hear little clicking sounds. What are they called? But oftentimes I've noticed that when I get that feeling, I will feel my digestive system moving. I will feel it moving. It's a parasympathetic a parasympathetic response from calmness of the nervous system, the mind and nervous system, that affects the digestive system beneficially and helps it to move. And within a few minutes, you're in taking a dump, and then you feel great. And so think about the opposite, the sympathetic reaction, not the parasympathetic, but the fight or flight reaction that most people are in all the time. When I first learned about it in massage school 18 years ago, I thought to myself, my God, I'll bet my sympathetic nervous system is in full fight or flight all the time, all the time. It's been 18 years since I've learned about and started gradually working on that to reverse it. And I feel as though I still have such a long way to go. Okay, so this is another important thing. So I'm telling you about this so that you'll understand it in your mind, because if you're mental like me, if you're really mental, like don't go up to anybody and say, man, you're mental. But if you know what I mean, if you're a mental person like me, like you really think about things a lot, you really use the power of your mind to survive in this world, okay, then it's really important for you to understand mentally the concept of peacefulness. And you get peaceful in your mind and body when you don't have too much on your plate. If you've got a lot on your plate, you're going to be in a state of fight or flight all the freaking time, because you're constantly searching for the next minute to achieve the next thing. But if you can get a life of where you've got time to just go in your little sanctuary, your little room, and lay right there on the yoga mat, face up or down, but face up is good, then just breathe, or to sit, or to sleep. Sleep. I've been sleeping an average of 10 hours a night, sometimes 11 or 12 hours a night. Yeah. And I'm just going with the flow because I know that I'm just going with the flow. Because if I look back to the springtime, I was exercising a lot. I was really getting out. Remember, I was walking and riding my bike. I was getting into bicycling, but mostly I was doing a lot of walking around here. And I didn't go out into the mountains very much. I didn't feel like driving very much. I mostly just hung out around here, but I was doing a lot of physical activity, and I'm not feeling a lot like that now. I've been doing a little bit of walking, but not very much. I haven't been much over to the park or the library area lately. But I've been doing a lot of sleeping and a lot of stretching and quite a bit of pretty good amount of massage, full body massage, and working on my head. And I've been doing a lot of thinking. I've been doing a lot of analyzing, like I mentioned, of posts on Facebook and where people are at. Okay, so it's important for me to know where people are at right now, because the biggest threat that we have is our own minds and other people's minds, especially people directly around us. And I was confronted by someone 2 days ago. I was confronted by, no, it was yesterday, by someone about my UPS shipping and the size requirements and this and that. And I've been through all of this stuff with UPS, and I've been trying to deal with, getting the size under the exact amount so that I don't get charged extra. And this person just kind of got in my face the other day. And I just kind of got back in his face and told him that I was well aware of all of the UPS shipping extra charges and this and that. But after I got out of there, I realized that he had upset me. And I also realized that he was tweaked. So he was tweaked, and then I allowed him to tweak me back. And it wasn't a good thing. But after I left there, I realized that he was just another person that's freaking out in our world. And that I need to try and calm myself down and regroup. So that's what I did. I came home and I had kind of a difficult day. I had a difficult day yesterday because I'd received the new refillable print cartridges for my old printer. I've been trying to save my old printer and improve it and stuff instead of buying a new one. And yesterday, I failed at that. I received the print cartridges, I filled them up, and I put them in the machine, and two of the four, didn't work. And so I emailed the guy that sold me the cartridges and told him what happened. And about halfway through the day, I was like, I am just sick of dealing with this old machine. I know it works good still sometimes, but man, it would be so great to have a new Epson Eco Tank. And they have refillable cartridges nowadays in the machine. And they've finally given up on their, charging out the yin yang for cartridges. We're all aware of that because now the Chinese have developed cartridges for everyone's machine that you can use. And the thing is that sometimes they don't work well. And that's the thing with Chinese products. And it's really a bad sign for their ingenuity and mentality, etc., etc. But in any case, I decided yesterday, screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and buy one. And so I did. And then this morning, I get a message from this guy. I battled through yesterday. Okay, so I had kind of a bad day yesterday with this kind of being verbally attacked over at this store. But But that chilled out, and I came home and realized that it was just another person freaking out. And then I went and didn't have such a great time with the printer. But none of it was like a bad thing, you know. It was just kind of a little bit of a depressing day. But then I finished the day decently, and I went to bed. I ended up like doing a lot of body work till late at night last night. No, I can't. I'm forgetting about my nights. You know, the whole thing is just kind of graying into each other. Day after day and night after night are just blurring into each other. And but I can tell you that today I received an email back from the guy, telling me what to do and how to reset all the print cartridges. And so I gave it a try, and guess what? It worked. So I'm keeping my old Epson 11-year-old Workforce 840. And I'm going to send back. It's most likely that I tried to cancel the new one, the new Epson, but it's most likely that it got shipped or whatever. We'll see. But if it does come, then I'm just going to take it back over to the Staples store in Asheville. And so today went better. And now I'm trying a new plugin for my website, a new shipping plugin, because I've got this one from India, and it's really hard to talk with them because they talk really fast. And when an Indian is talking to you really fast over a satellite line, it's really hard to understand them. And also, I think that their product is not really great, and I'm trying somebody else. And I think that I'm trying today, I think I bought a plugin from a Russian. There's this guy, he seems like a really nice guy, but he seems like a really computer smart guy. And we'll see. I noticed I just got an email back from him a few minutes ago because I have some glitches with the plugin. It's a shipping plugin. But in any case, I'm keeping decent control over my emotions and my life and everything because I've slowed down. And I think that everyone is slowing down. And if you haven't, if you're somebody that's watching me now and you haven't gotten it, that you need to slow down and reprioritize things, because see, you're not going to be able to get as many things done at 50 miles, 80. If you see somebody that's just like a hippie, like totally mellow, like a hippie has nothing to do, they've got very little obligations, and that's the way they like it. Okay, so I'm going to compare my life before to the hippies that I was hanging out with. And the reason that I was hanging out with them was because I knew that I needed to have a lifestyle a lot more like theirs and be a lot more like them. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so the people, when you get to a point of where you realize that your speed life is not working for you, then you'll get to like a breaking point and you'll want to befriend and be around hippies. I joke thee not. And so that's what I did. I would start to go to Dave's full moon parties, full moon gatherings. See, I knew that what I needed was the opposite of what I'd been. And so I met this guy at the farmer's market and I bought one of his drums, bongo drums, like what they play at the beach or whatever. I bought one of his drums for $125. And I started to get to know Dave. And then I started to go to his full moon gatherings. We're talking about this guy that's like super popular in northern Utah. He would throw big parties and hundreds of people would come. He'd hire bands and we'd have these things where we would share. In the very beginning, we would read poetry, sing, play in a musical instrument. I saw all kinds of different cool things that people would do. And then we would eat a vegetarian potluck. And Dave was a vegetarian, yes, and he was a Mormon missionary. He was also a long dread hippie on the big island of Hawaii for 7 years, and his first kid was born in the jungle. His first kid, Pono, was born in the jungle on the big island. But before that, he was a shortcut missionary in Chicago. Okay? Because these are some of the people that I had to befriend and become friends with and hang out with in order for me to regain balance and to see all sides and to know where the middle was. I had to know by doing all of this stuff. And I haven't even scratched the surface like in this world. I've never even been to another country except Mexico, like Tijuana. I was looking at my travel thing, my passport. I pulled it out the other day to see if it was expired. They're good for 10 years, right? Mine expired last June. So I had it for 10 years, but I didn't use it, not once. And things come up, and all kinds of things came up in my life. I notice when I drink this, oftentimes I get up in the middle of the night to pee, and you can smell the toxicity coming off of the pee. This purges it out of your organs of elimination, total in your blood, totally. Detox tea from Yogi Teas. And this one's ginkgo too. It's two of them. Ginkgo and detox. Come to Canada. I don't think I can go to Canada. I don't think they'd let me in. No shots. I have no COVID. No COVID shots. Canada is one of the most strict, I think. I don't know all their rules, but from what I've heard, they're one of the most strict in regards to COVID. Yeah, any of the English-oriented countries like Canada and Australia and New Zealand, they're like freaking totally locked down. The English mindset is one of the wonders of the world. They're probably the most processed. Like if you think about the most processed food, think about the most processed food in the world, like white wheat flour, or white sugar. Okay. The English are like the most processed people in the world. They're the most proper, you have to do this for your country, And I think that I have English friends, my friend Philip and Maura, Dan from watch Dan's gardening channel. Say Dan is English, but he looks like Jesus. He looks like Jesus Christ. And he's got long Jesus hair, and he can grow a full Jesus beard. He doesn't look English by any sense of the word, He looks kind of more like, I don't know, Romania or something like that. Yeah, America has the most carcinogenic of a lot of things. And it's because we are the most capitalist society, and they're not going to put restrictions on toxic anything here because that would be against freedom. How old was Chakra? Chakra was 13 and a half. She was 13 and a half. And I did my best to keep her going. I've done my best progressively better progressively with my dogs, I think, as I went along, as I slowed down and changed my life, and I don't know. But yeah, she was such a good girl. Hi, Joe. Hey, Joe, where you going with that organic food in your hand? Nisi Pie says, why is it that our instinct is to put our finger in our mouth as soon as we get a paper cut or something? Yeah, because it's like to heal, you can put pressure on it and stop the blood flowing. You can stimulate the area to create healing, like with blood or whatever needs to go to it, nutrients. We put our fingers, we put our hands on everything that gets injured. Check it out, I'll show you. I whacked my shin. I whacked my shin on the laundry post thing. It looks bad. Look how healthy though otherwise. Pretty healthy. Yeah. Got some extra skin there. Anyway. How about my massage videos now? Our preamble. Our preamble. I've never seen our preamble on here before, but our preamble is rather vocal. It did hurt when I first whacked it right against my tibia. Ouch. It really hurt. But it didn't hurt as bad as this dude the other night in the World Series. The batter hit the ball and it whacked right into his fibula, which is his calf muscle, and it created a fracture of the fibula. And he stayed in for like 3 pitchers. He struck out 3 batters in a row. He struck out 3 batters, and then he could feel it, because it was broke. So that was game 1, I think, of the series. It's on right now. I should check it out and see what's going on. I'm not sure what's going on there. I've mostly just been watching the highlights the next day. It's better just to wait for the highlights because, like, I'm on the East Coast and I'll have to wait. Here tonight, it's been being played in Atlanta, so it's not too big of a deal. It might be over by now. Does anybody know who won? Atlanta was winning 1-0, so it was kind of a boring game. Anyways, so yeah, I had that going through my head. I've had it going through my head for quite a while that people really need to be prepared for other people to freak out. And so that's mostly what I wanted to talk about tonight. And so I did. And I hope that you've absorbed a lot of that for which I talked about. I'm sure that I could figure out more things because, like, everything is connected. You can always connect something with that. And let's see. Oftentimes, I think that a lot of these things that we see that are just band-aids, no pun intended, but you can see the one there. These band-aids, they don't last very long. But they stick really good, and then you can't get it off, especially if there's hairs there. It's like but I think that a lot of these things that we see as band-aids, like the vaccines, like, oh, that'll put it off for them for a while, and who knows, maybe it'll actually in the long run save lives, or who knows, maybe it'll kill off most of the people. God only knows. We just don't know where it's going long term. But a lot of these things that we see that seem ridiculous, that are just like band-aids, you have to realize that people are so out of whack. Their lifestyles are so out of whack. We just settled this country several hundred years ago. And I think that people felt as though they really needed to, I guess, go 90 miles an hour to build as many houses and roads and as big of a giant of a military as possible, and to like civilize the whole world by spreading Americanism and McDonald's everywhere. So for whatever reason, they got themselves into this. And I was born into it. And I've been working really, really hard for almost 30 years to get out of it. And I'm still working really hard. But like I was telling you, I am not putting, like, if I wanted to, I could just go nuts and load my plate with things like, I need to learn about plants, I need to learn about organic gardening, I need to do this and that, I need to meet all these people to start this community. And you know what? I've just come to this conclusion that I need to, and this is for you Christians, let go and let God. And you really do. You really need to just let whatever you believe in, nature, God, you need to let it do its thing with them. Whether it be fires or COVIDs or whatever it may be, hurricanes, because see, the only way that they're going to change is if there's intervention by something a lot bigger than me and you. There's got to be some, like, and the government too. The government too. They're just nothing compared to what I'm talking about, creation. And you just got to allow it. Just get yourself. I feel like I'm in a decently safe place here, and I'm really lucky. I'm really blessed. I'm really good to go, I think. And so, yeah, get yourself into a good place, and don't let the world affect you too much, and don't lose it if somebody freaks out. Don't let them freak you out. So that's all I think I have for you tonight. I hope that you guys are well.